Spielberg talks the 30th anniversary of Schindler's List, including the gay people he saved. Legendary director Steven Spielberg recently reflected on the impact of his Oscar-winning film Schindler's List and the legacy it continues to shape as his Shoah Foundation marks its 30th anniversary. During the Holocaust, German businessman Oskar Schindler courageously saved more than 1,000 Jewish people, including some LGBTQ individuals, from Nazi persecution. In an interview with NBC's Jacob Soboroff on Today, Spielberg spoke about the creation of the foundation, which he established after learning from Holocaust survivors on set. He shared a profound encounter with one survivor where she claimed to have a much bigger story than the one that Spielberg was telling of her life. This moment, Spielberg said, inspired him to bear witness and capture survivors' stories, creating the Shoah Foundation to preserve and share their voices. The Shoah Foundation, now led by Executive Director Dr. Robert Williams, has gathered thousands of survivor testimonies, including the account of 93-year-old Celina, who was the youngest woman on Oskar Schindler's List. Celina praises Steven Spielberg as his second Schindler for giving her a voice. Expanding its mission, the foundation has documented testimonies from survivors of genocide in Rwanda, Cambodia, Armenia, and more. With fewer than 250,000 Holocaust survivors still living, the foundation is racing against time to capture as many testimonies as possible. The Holocaust placed Jews wearing stars and queer people wearing pink triangles in work camps. Eventually, millions were placed in concentration camps and exterminated. It was the foundation of a unique kinship in horror between Jewish and LGBTQ community. Spielberg calls on people worldwide to join hands in remembrance, declaring, quote, "There are certain things we must never forget," end quote. I love this story. I love how the movie is a movement and how it goes beyond the Holocaust. There, when I was reading Rwanda, Armenia, Cambodia, and places and other places that have also lent a helping hand in rescuing genocide and survivors of genocide. This is very moving, especially for a movie that hits to our hearts and that is such a phenomenon, such a change in mindset and culture. And I wrote on here, you know, with what's going on now, I'm going to really bring it down to what's going on now. It's not, there's not a question anymore as to how fascism can rise. Right. It's not a question in my mind anymore how these things came to power back in those days. And the fact that this still lives on 30 years later really speaks volumes. And it speaks volumes that 30 years later, we're still, well, we can say 60, 70 years later, we're still dealing with the repercussions of certain mindsets and certain agendas.
I'm with you. I really like that we're bringing in different examples of just hate that has been brought to the extreme, to the point where it results in genocide. And I may be aging myself a little bit here, but I remember growing up and coming to the point of finding out that gay people were even involved in the Holocaust. Right. There was nothing about that in kind of primary, secondary education. That was something that really only came to light in about the late 1980s, early 1990s, when I was like, oh wait, that was us too. Right. And you realize how this kind of hate grows and spilleth over into the very next group of people that are out there. Because as a kid, I was like, I just don't understand how he got all those people on his side to be so hateful. Right. But the times that we're in now, I think, are a living illustration of how easy that is.
It's true, and it's so important to, give these survivors a platform to tell their stories. I remember growing up and listening to friends that were of the Jewish faith and you know, hearing about the tales that they went through of some, you know, of their relatives escaping. And my own grandmother, who was German, escaped from Germany in the late 1930s because her family had the mindset to say, this is wrong and we want you to have a better life. So she sent my grandmother, a 16-year-old girl, on the boat, not speaking any English, to come to America for a better life.
Wow.
And so, you know, that resonates with me even today. So telling those type of stories, you know, is so important, not even just for our community as well. You know, when we have had genocides with the AIDS crisis and stuff, it's so important for us to, you know, definitely speak up and talk about it. So it's a great tool.
I'm fascinated with the idea that Steven Spielberg, who did the movie, took it beyond the movie. With a foundation that continues to speak. And as we talk about this, I keep thinking about our history in the U.S. and how we're trying to, you know, people are trying to write history out of the books. And this is going to continue that legacy, you know, of remembrance. And I think those are going to be important stories, because once history's been erased, it's going to repeat itself. It really will. It's been proven time and time again.